We're going to explore a really curious idea in this explainer, a way of experiencing meaning that feels like it exists completely outside of our normal sense of time.
Just let that sink in for a second. Meaning does not always exist inside time. Now, this isn't some profound conclusion we're supposed to understand right away. It's more like an observation of something that, well, that just is.
So, what is this experience we're talking about? You could think of it as a kind of quiet presence. It's this feeling of meaning that isn't tied to a story about your past, and it's not connected to some goal you're trying to reach in the future.
So, this isn't about looking back and trying to interpret something that happened, figuring out what it all meant. That whole process of analyzing or making sense of the past, it's just not part of this. And on the flip side, it's not about projecting into the future either. It's not that feeling of purpose that comes from a goal, or that drive we get from planning ahead. That whole sense of striving for what's next has kind of faded away. And here's the strange part. Even without the past or the future to anchor it, a sense of meaning is still there. It's not something you figure out or achieve. It's more like a quiet, steady presence that you're just in.
Okay, so you might be asking, how does a state like this even happen? Well, it seems to have something to do with a very specific way of observing, one that doesn't feel the need to make a decision about anything. This feeling seems to show up when our awareness just stops trying to do something with what it sees. It stops judging, it stops evaluating, it stops trying to fix or determine an outcome. It's an observation that's totally free from needing to land on some kind of conclusion. The real shift here isn't in what you're looking at, but in your entire stance towards it. Now, there's actually a name for the underlying structure of this experience, a concept that sort of holds the whole thing together. It's called recursive equilibrium. And it all comes down to balance. Just think of recursion as the mind's natural feedback loop, the way it references itself. If that loop becomes too active, excessive, it yanks you into thoughts about past and future, and time starts to feel stretched out. But if there's not enough recursion, the whole thing just collapses, and that sense of meaning dissolves. So recursive equilibrium is that perfect, delicate sweet spot right in the middle. So what does all this really imply about meaning itself when you experience it in the state of perfect balance? Well, it means that in this state, meaning isn't a result of something. It's not something you make or something you find. And because of that, it's not something you can lose either. It's simply present. It's stable. It is not displaced. It just is. And this whole idea isn't just some abstract concept. It points to a real potential state of being. And that brings this whole exploration right back to us, turning it into a very personal question. So we're left with this question. If this state of being is really possible, then what kind of observational stance, what way of seeing the world actually allows us to remain in this place?